I mentioned that we were going to talk about First Amendment issues. If you just look at what's going on in Washington, it's obviously very important. The investigation surrounding Attorney General Eric Holder into the Associated Press and Fox News raise up these questions. And there's no one better than my next guest to speak about this. He's one of the leading experts in constitutional law. Some would call him Mr. First Amendment. He's out with a new book, Friend of the Court, on the front lines with the First Amendment, Floyd Abrams. Mr. Abrams, thanks so much for being with us.
It's good to be here.
Floyd, it's great to hear your voice. You know, first, congratulations. I got to tell you, congratulations on the timing of the book. Was that planned?
Yes, I worked everything out in advance. And I made sure that the book was ready to go, and then I called the president and asked him to do some really outrageous things.
The timing was impeccable, I must admit. You know, I caught you in a recent interview, and I wanted to bring this up for our audience because it was really superb. You were on the Charlie Rose show just the other night, and I hadn't thought to ask this question, but Charlie did, and I'm going to ask it again to you for our viewers. What does the First Amendment mean to you?
Well, it's sort of the precondition, the necessary first step on just about everything else that we have in this country that makes us so special. I mean, the First Amendment, by its terms, protects the freedom of speech, freedom of press, freedom of religion, etc. On the ground, what it has come to mean is that freedom of expression in general, of all sorts, political speech, social speech, cultural speech, is all protected except in the most extraordinary circumstances. There's a price tag for that. You know, we allow more free speech, which also means more sort of bad speech, you know, that defames women or people of different religions or races or whatever. We're the only country in the world that protects that. That comes with the broad protections that we afford to really all sorts of speech. It's just part of the freedom we live with, and it makes us extraordinary in the world and very much envied in the world.
I guess it means that we have to protect the rights, or at least the free speech of those who are screaming at the top of their lungs everything that maybe I personally stand for. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it means one Supreme Court opinion said freedom for the opinions that we hate. So, you know, the effect of that is that a lot of the speech we protect, and sometimes the only sort of speech people would want to suppress, is, you know, irritating speech, offensive speech, outrageous speech. That's part of it, but again, that's part of the whole. I mean, the whole is we sort of roll the dice in favor of allowing more rather than less freedom in our society, and the beginning of that, and the protector of that, is the First Amendment.
Let me take you to Washington. I talked about it earlier with regards to the Attorney General, and you've seen what's transpired, the investigations into the Associated Press and Fox News, James Rosen, but have they crossed the line here? And if they have, please tell us about it.
Yeah. I think they have. Obviously, this is an area, you know, which is hard to draw lines in, and no one is saying, certainly I'm not saying, that free speech is absolute and that there's never a time in any situation in which the government can't sort of step in. But the real point of it is that speech has got to be free across the board in general, with maybe some exceptions, and that you can't let the government get too close in a sense that it could deter or chill or freeze speech. And these leak investigations that have been going on, trying to find out who in the government has released information that he or she wasn't supposed to release, have an understandable cause. People release really hot information which could perhaps even hurt the country or imperil someone's life. But what the administration has done is to sort of do an end run around having the courts serve as a real decision maker. I mean, they've really acted as if only the executive branch, only the Department of Justice can make the decisions about what sort of activities it may engage in. And so when they get to a case like the Associated Press case, and instead of sitting with the AP and trying, maybe failing, but trying to work something out when they were looking for information about a source, they went right to their telephone company and got telephone records. And in the case of the Fox journalist, they submitted an affidavit to a court basically saying that because the Fox journalist had asked and tried to persuade and flattered and appealed to the ego of someone in government to try to get him to provide certain information, that he may well have violated the espionage law.
That's what really struck me, Floyd, was that term, violation of the Espionage Act.
Right.
That seems a bit too far to me, and they're basically saying he's a conspirator.
I mean, I think that's way too far.
How do we protect against something like that? You know, has this happened in other administrations that you've seen in your lifetime?
Really not this. I mean, there have been other administrations that have done some things that are even maybe more threatening. President Nixon had this enemies list, and you know, and as far as we know, they don't have that in the Obama White House. But in terms of the Department of Justice speaking in the name of the United States of America to a federal judge and telling him that a reporter who sort of pushes too hard, tries too hard to get a story, asks too often, or is too persuasive at getting information, even about classified information, that person, the phrase the government used was, there was probable cause to believe that the reporter, Mr. Rosen of Fox, was either an aider and abettor, so someone going along with helping a violation of the Espionage Act, or a co-conspirator under the Espionage Act. No administration's done that, and it just very greatly overstepped the bounds that had previously existed in this area.
It certainly seems that they're persecuting him for being a good journalist. Floyd, it was a pleasure to have you once again, as always. Congratulations on the book. Hope to have you get back again real soon.
Thank you very much. I wish you well. Bye-bye.
That was Floyd Abrams.